Welcome back to Zoom Bullshit. It is that time again. We've had another quarantine. So tonight is the first episode of the second season. And we're real happy you're here to watch us. All of this stuff is taking place live right now on Zoom. We all happen to be in the grand old city of Berlin, but we are also probably streaming to at least 3 continents at this point, which is very exciting. So, welcome. Here's why we do this. Some of us have worked in terrible corporate America, and the result is terrible slides. Presentations there are a lifestyle, and we're here to make sure that that lifestyle goes well. This is slide hell. I personally collect the world's worst slides. More about that in a little while. And they have terrible design. My slides are not any better. This white on black probably makes your eyes bleed a little bit. So here's how to watch. First off, sob at the folly of it all. But you can also ask questions on our chat. Right now, it's just in YouTube. Twitch will tell you to go to YouTube. So if you put comments in Twitch, we won't see them, just comment in YouTube. That's really important because we're gonna answer those questions later. So the weirder your questions get, the weirder our answers get. Super fun stuff. All right, so how did this happen, you wonder? Well, first of all, there was a pandemic and comedy moved onto computers. Shortly after that, we made a show. Figuring that presentations were hilarious, this is the show that resulted. Then they made the mistake of letting us out over the summer. Berlin, very responsibly, did everything that Berlin always does. So now there's a second wave because, you know, COVID works outdoors too. And we're back inside again. And this time it's not summertime. It's like deep autumn, and so the sun has already set in the winters behind me. That means we're back to doing comedy right here on Zoom. So what the crap are we even doing tonight? This is a competition. You get to vote on the winners. Each contestant will have 5 minutes to present 7 slides. In the first half, we'll have Kevin, Duncan, and Tina in that order. Then we'll have an intermission where we answer all of your questions. And then in the second half, we'll have Jess and Julia. After that, there will be voting. We'll open up a place to go vote online. Your favorite contestants will go on to be the winners of tonight, and they will present the very final deck of the evening, which promises great amusement. There will be 2 winners. They will both present the final deck of the evening, and winners will be invited back for the next episode. Very exciting. Fantastic. So you're thinking to yourself, gee, well, maybe you have just this grand reserve of slides, and it's true, I do. But also, we require donations of slides from you, our viewers, in order to make this thing the best that it can be. So I still have to get these slides from somewhere, and you have to throw a poor show host a knowledge bone so that I can have these presentations to pass on for your greater amusement. You can send them to slides@zoombullshit.com. Don't worry, I will say that again right now, slides@zoombullshit.com. All right, we graciously thank you for your contributions to both science and comedy and blood sports. Yep, I said it. So without further ado, ask questions in YouTube. First up, we're gonna have Kevin, if you could make your way to the Zoom stage by unmuting your video.
I did.
Maybe. There you are. All right. And whenever you're ready, take it away.
Well, I mean, this is really what I've devoted my life to. So Montenegro, as you well know, is a very complicated place with a complicated cultural history. And the most important thing that me and my team, and I'll get to what my team is later, is we basically are charged with overseeing road safety for the closing ceremonies of the Montenegro equivalent of the Academy Awards, called the PENE, the PENE. It stands. Well, I won't get into what it stands for, but it's a week-long film and television award ceremony and just extravaganza. So we're basically micro-focused on road safety during the closing ceremonies. Let's go to the next slide. All right, so we commenced obviously in November of 2018, 26, which is right after my divorce, which was really, it was the diversion that I needed. I thought I'd be done by 2019, but then it got extended to 2020, partially because of issues with road safety, partially because I met somebody and I wanted to stay. I'm just going to tell you guys straight up. And yeah, of course, I mean, I am a stickler for EU directives. So we had to address IRAP safety, which stands for International Road Accessibility Protocol. We had to do safety inspections, which involved just inspecting for potholes, really, and then capacity building, which is a multi-tiered process that involves, a lot of surveying. Okay, next slide. All right, so there were some serious challenges with this project. First of all, around the PENE Awards, historically, because they've been going on for 35 years, a ton of crashes, a ton of traffic, okay? So we had to do that. We had to look at the crashes. They also weirdly have strange crashes. It's not like rear enders. They have like, it's weird, but like cars will jump over the meridian and hit other cars, and then there'll be guys who will get in fights in the middle of the street. But anyway, so we had to assess that risk. We had to do the mapping. We then, here weirdly, this is why it's the third point, weirdly, the crashes in traffic and the risk are affected majorly by the weather in elements of high humidity, rain and thunder. I don't know why rain and thunder, but it leads to a lot of bare knuckle brawls. And then we, of course, the challenges of the local staff. First of all, they have day jobs, so it was hard to just get them around for training. And then, of course, timing of deliverables, because as anybody who knows Montenegro knows, that the roads are closed from 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. So that's another thing. And how challenges were overcame: cooperation with local teams. We learned, we played a lot of team building, did a lot of improv and then, of course, we reviewed the reports in a timely manner. Next slide. Oh my Lord. So the outputs. So, I mean, we outputted a ton. So we got the IRAP study and survey, which of course you already remember what IRAP stands for, so I'm not going to repeat it. And of course we did the risk mapping, which is really just a lot of bare knuckle brawls. Star ratings. This weirdly you would not think is related to Montenegro traffic safety, but we just sometimes would lay in the grass, stare at the stars, and just rate what constellations we like best. I will say for me and my team, Orion won. Okay, then we've got 6 safety inspection reports, pretty cut and dry. 4 training workshops, 2 related to road safety, 1 related to anger management, and the 3rd related to just good object work improv. And then we have to review and comment on legislation. There's a lot of legislation with this, and let's just say our comments were not well received. RSC guidelines, you guys all know what that is, and reporting throughout project. Yeah, we had to tweet about our work. Next slide. Okay, so by and large, we have the closing ceremonies. It went great. By the way, if you're interested, the winner of Best Picture in Montenegro was a little film called Puppy the Puppy. It's actually an adorable movie. You should check it out. Best Drama was a soap opera called Tears of My Reign, which is really about the sadness of the leader of Montenegro. And then my next slide is to wrap it up. Well, our tasks. We have a lot of tasks. We built that tunnel on the bottom. I just wanted to talk to you about that because basically that bypasses the biggest fight area, which is on top of this mountain. So we decided, hey, let's go through the mountain and we'll avoid the bare knuckle fights. Next slide, last slide. So here's the thing. The task was completed by a team of at least 2 people. So at least 2. We at least had a duo. Sometimes we had a trio or all the way up to a septet. And we did, of course, drive-through, and on foot expressions, we did video and photograph. I mean, you can see this all on our website. The most important thing, oh, the timer stopped. I don't know what that means. Am I still here? But anyways, the important part is this year's closing ceremony only had 35 deaths, which is down from last year where there was a death of 75 people. So I feel like we were effective. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So glad you rode that whole way to do that. Duncan, if we can get you on stage next, go ahead and unmute. You're up. Europe, he said.
Hi.
There you go. Oh, you're weirdly not appearing in this scene. Speak more.
Oh. More. Now?
Good. Take it away.
Okay. Oh, shit. Hi, I'm David I, and you might remember me from such PSAs such as thread count, who gives a fuck, and bestiality, should it be illegal not to? And here I'm here to talk to you about the EU on crack. Okay, the EU on crack. No, just kidding, guys. Discourses on the drug problem and its addicts, 2005 to 2012. We had a lot of data after that, but it wasn't nearly as interesting. All the crazy shit happened in these years. I hope you guys are ready. Okay, next slide. Table of contents. I fucking love tables. If you want a surface to do crack on, a table is fantastic. A lot of people use their phones nowadays, but you can't beat a good table. Okay, so research question. Brilliant. Love that slide. The theoretical background on drug use. Why do people take drugs? Why do people not take drugs? It's a bigger question. Background on drug policy affecting the EU states. Why is there so much policy on drug taking? We don't really know. Crack's a bit dodgy, but the rest is probably fine. Netherlands and Sweden in this context, how are they doing? So incredibly well on taking drugs. Discourse analysis, yeah, lots of other stuff as well. Next slide, please. Okay. How does the EU envision the measures to manage drugs across the EU, and how does it imagine the drug users in terms of policies? Well, I think that's fairly clear. We believe that drug users are horrible, horrible people, and we don't know what has driven them into this horrible line of work, but we're going to stop them, and we're going to do it fast. So far, it's not been going terribly well. Portugal was our leader, and it's kind of reverted to a free-for-all there. They seem to be happier. Hasn't really affected GDP, but we believe that they are wrong. And drug users aren't very great at policies anyway, so that doesn't do so well either. Next slide, please. Is the timer working? Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. So on this slide, I wrote so much stuff, and it was about tables, and then my assistant just edited it all to something that was a bit more normal to read. I see crime and drugs in there, the words that jump out at me. Yes, please. But no, I can also see condemned and there's some more crime. But yeah, I think we found that legalizing it, although fun, no, actually, there's no hyperbole to that. It was just fun, and we had a great time. We made a lot of tables, we made a lot of crack, and at the end of the day, it raises the question of what crimes are tolerable, because it seems like drug taking, it was okay, and I think we've all been to festivals. Everyone here is from Berlin, and I don't know if you've been to a house party that you just thought was going to be a little bit of wine and bolognese, and then you ended up making a table to. Yeah, I think you all know how that went. So this one's probably all right. Okay, next slide. Drug policies affecting the EU states. So there's a single convention on narcotic drugs that was made in 1961. This was, as I pointed out, kind of useless. Marijuana was a part of that, and then people found out how goddamn fun it was. And for some people, it even increased productivity, if by being productive, that meant drooling and slipping into a coma. But that was all that's necessary. Children, that word jumped out at me. Children are used in many parts of the world as an illicit drug, as an illicit drug consumers? You mean as illicit drug consumers? Sorry, grammar Nazi. Market and for purposes of illicit production, distribution, and trade in narcotic drugs. I mean, that wouldn't be the case if they weren't so goddamn good at making them. Their tiny hands make it much easier to get into all the nooks and crannies of all the substances. There's nothing really you can do about that, which entails a danger of incalculable gravity. Gravity. Next slide. Please. Drug policies part 2. Wow. There's some red writing at the bottom of this. Let's go straight to that. True cause of the increasing damage that the production of trafficking in and sale of useful legal substances are inflicting. Yeah. Okay. Honestly, there are some drugs that are a bit shady. Crack isn't fantastic. I think there's that saying, crack, not even once. Oh no, that was meth. Similar. But yeah, as long as kids aren't involved, or at least not in the production end, that came out wrong, then maybe it's okay. But you're right, it does fuck some things up. Next slide, why not? That genuinely has turned into a PSA. The Dutch way, thank God, drug addicts seen as patients needing help. Okay. Practice harm reduction. Drug differentiation, coffee shops selling, and illegal substance legality. Yeah, and I think we can say that worked fairly well. Yeah, the Dutch are fairly productive, despite all of their marijuana abuse. Their Amsterdam's doing hella well. So I don't think there's much truth to that one either. I haven't met many Dutch people taking heroin. I haven't met many people taking heroin, actually, apart from on the U8. And for those that don't live in Berlin, it's this U-Bahn line where there's a fuck ton of heroin users. But yeah, I think the Dutch way or the Portuguese way is probably the way forward. And that's what we've learned. Okay, next slide. Is that the end?
Uh-oh, fill-in joke here. I missed that one. Next up, we've got Tina. Duncan, thank you so much. Oh man, all right, Tina, you ready for this?
Yes.
We'll have intermission right after you, so take it away.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Laura Perkins. Today, we will be talking about a functional approach to problem behavior. I am a consultant for Perkins Animal Behavior. I am the only consultant. It is my company. It belongs to me. I built it from the ground up. My father cannot take this away from me. I have a guest with me here who will be helping me and helping me provide examples as we go through this presentation. May I have the next slide, please? Right, we're going to talk about problem behavior in dogs, man's best friend, also women's best friend. We don't need to be sexist in our language. Can you move the presentation along, please? This is a dog. Next, please. This is also a dog. Next, please. As you can see, these are 3 dogs. Another one, please. That looks like a rat. It is a dog. This is also a dog. Here, yes. Please moving on. Okay, so as we saw from the last slide, there are many different types of dogs, and dogs have behaviors. Sometimes dogs do bad things, and sometimes their behavior is functional. Next slide, please, or click it. Okay. A function is a noun. I just want to be clear on that. A function, which is a noun, is an action or activity proper to a person, thing, or institution. It is also a public or social gathering. It is also a factor related to or dependent on other factors. It is also a term for something in mathematics. I did not do well in mathematics. My father reminds me of this every day. Next, please. Okay, we're specifically speaking about the noun that is something designed or exists, okay? That's a function. It exists like a dog. Next. Okay, or something related to other things. I know. Okay, next, please. Okay. All existing behaviors occur to help the animal get something or escape something. This is an animal, okay? It wants something or it wants to run from something. Right now, it wants to escape me because it doesn't like me holding it like this. But if I had, for example, food, then the animal might want some food. Okay, next, please. What is a function? Besides a noun, there are 3 other words which describe functions. You can read. Next slide, please. Okay, for example, if you have a visitor at the door and the dog jumps, the visitor pets the dog. Next, please. Okay, then the dog gets pet, okay? But is that a good thing? I don't know. Let's find out. The jury is still out. There are other dog activities, for example, growling, escaping, turning around. Dogs do many things. Next, please. Okay. Dogs can also be trained to eat things at certain times, or if you ring a bell, as my esteemed supervisor and Dr. Fata, Dr. Pavlov proved. Next, please. Okay, don't pet dogs that try to bite you. I feel like this is self-explanatory. Move on, please. Quadrants, yet another thing from math class. Next, please. Okay, so here's 2 of them. I suspect that there are more. Next, please. Cool. As I said, there are more quadrants, and I think you should keep clicking. Right, here are the 4 quadrants. Getting things, escaping things, reinforcement, punishment, increase, decrease. One day my dad will love me. Which quadrant are we talking about? Please click through. Here are examples of things that can go in quadrants. For example, that one is negative because dogs do things. This one is positive because dogs like to eat. Next, please. And this one is negative because dogs shouldn't growl at people. Next, please. How functional. The point is, get cats.
All right. So thank you so much. It's now time for intermission. What? That's the craziest thing ever. So we're going to get everybody up on stage at the same time. We're going to answer some questions from the YouTube stream. Yeep. I get so distracted these days. We're going to do that right here, right now. So if I could get everybody to unmute their video, I'm going to disappear and we're going to get some questions from God.
How did the questions actually come in?
There are so many questions. But we're going to go back to Kevin's first. So the question for Dr. Know-It-All is, what was Kevin's favorite accident during the inspections?
Actually,
Duncan.
you know, I had to think a bit, but actually,
There
Was
a
Oh shit.
big. There was a big.
hole
Yes. Sorry.
where
they
Crashed.
into
horses
before
They
Went.
cut and went, cut and went
galloping
along
the
Big.
road.
moon and road.
Yes, wonderful, very
Yeah.
satisfying answer,
Mm.
Dr. Know-It-All. And I think appropriately, we are moving on to Duncan because we all really need to know what wine Duncan prefers when he goes to Berlin house parties.
Is this a wait? Did
It's
somebody
for everyone. Everyone's going to answer on your behalf.
which wine? Isn't it
Which
inside
what
joke?
wine do you prefer when you're attending house parties in Berlin?
Oh man, I can't show it because Zoom is blocking it. But yeah, you should go to Etiquette at the moment. There's there's this deal on
Visible wine.
yeah, Reserva. You just say wine, right? And not which like crack or this is very
Yeah,
like
it
an
was wine.
intro.
All right, well, you've answered it. Great. We'll go back to Dr. Know-It-All for the next question.
Okay.
Which is biopolitics like the politics of organic drugs?
interestingly,
Not
Because
They ate
oranges.
when
racist.
rather that
One
time
Fruit.
resisted against
magic.
mhm.
Oh, you're really hitting around.
Yes. All right. One last one.
Let's try and do it.
Um,
Great.
Do dogs have functions?
Absolutely.
not
Cats.
have all
Function.
that
It's why.
cats are
Odd.
Lee
Wonderful.
Mm.
Mm.
All right. Dr. Know-It-All, thank you so much. What a
Wow.
fantastic intermission. Everybody can leave the stage except for Jess. You're up next. Intermission's done. So it's that time. Jess, whenever you're ready. Duncan, you can mute yourself on the video. You can stay live on audio.
I'm ready.
Take it away.
So, hi everyone. As you notice, I am neither Pietro Romeo or Juliana Sirotina. I am actually Juliette de la Mage. And this is my first Zoom presentation, dear stakeholders. But I was told by my work coach that it's a good idea to have something in the background that's really meaningful to you. So I brought my cats Here you can see them in the background. Their names are Dominic, Clive, Fenton, Miranda. There's Miranda. Some of them are deceased, but I'm not too sad about that yet. Eleanor. There's Davy Wood over there. Oh, right there. Yeah, cute. This one here, the blackish one, that's Ellie. Anyway, enough about the cats. You're here to hear about user mental models on privacy. So let's get started. Next slide, please. So, you know, the two brothers of mine, because this is a family business, even though we have different last names, don't worry about that. There was some falling out in the early years, but we've gotten through it. They put together this lovely argument, and I just want to highlight two of these categories. The first one is that we focus in this business on all things mental. That's why I put that picture there with the strange looking face with the key, because privacy, you want to lock up those skulls, right? So intellectual property is something near and dear to my heart, almost as near and dear as these cats. And, you know, don't make these nothing to hide arguments, lock up the brain, and then it's just not a problem. So I'm going to tell you all about that. Let's get it rolling. Oh, next slide, obviously. Yes. World domination, obviously. You know, you've got so much in this noodle, right? I'm just going to call it by the layman's term. Other people in the field, we say head or brain, but in the noodle, there's so much power, right? Dominating power. And if you let other people come with their key and stick it in your hole, right, and unlock, right, to not break the metaphor at all here, unlock your noodle, that's just going to lead to some problems. So lock it up, keep it private, take over the world. I mean, that's basically what Mark Zuckerberg always says, right? So that's what we try to do for our company. And actually, we have a policy. Our company motto is asking ourselves, how is Mark Zuckerberg trying to dominate the world today? And when you wake up and you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, I mean, holding your favorite cat, fine, and you repeat that motto to yourself, just watch, your attitude will change right away. Next slide. So what is a mental model? You know, beliefs, ideas, images, things that we have in our environment and that unconsciously form from our experiences. And we use those heuristics, we call them in the field, or, you know, the lay people term is like stuff. We use that to try to conceptualize complex things and find links and relationships between things. Next slide. I'm going to tell you more about it. Yes, so part of the thing when you want to keep that brain under lock and key is to just make things more difficult for other people to get in. That's why I use small font on the slides. Like, if you really want it, you got to work for it. Like, get in here, squint, right? And I think that that's really important, that you have this representation of an external reality, but in a limited way, okay? So mental models are beliefs, not facts. We all have something that we believe, and that's really important to my family company here. I mean, we don't really get along as well. We used to get along even worse, but you know, you have this brain, lock it down, keep your beliefs inside, and everyone will get along, basically. Next slide. Yeah, so, you know, we always have these issues in life where, you know, do we favor children or adults? Do we favor the IT engineer or the average Joe? And you're probably thinking when you see some of these comparisons, well, obviously I want the IT engineer versus the average Joe, but lock that down. You know, you have these beliefs, but don't let that out. If you want to dominate the world, you got to suppress that, guys. And, you know, it's the same with privacy. Don't confuse that with security versus secrecy. These are distinct concepts, and you don't want to mix them up. Next slide, please. Maybe. I'm
Oh,
going to leave you with this last slide. Privacy as expectations design. So, you know, we can barely see the stuff here. And I think that that's really what I'm getting at today, is that you want to hide these kind of things in public. But I think what you'll see is when we looked at the results from the brightest flashlight factory and from dictionary.com, which I mean, both equally reputable sources for looking up anything that you need to know, you can see that people are comfortable with a certain level of sharing and revealing secrets, but keeping stuff locked away in that brain, that's what you really need to do. I brought a brain here today, actually. It's a stress ball. So, you know, when you get in fights with your family, you can just squeeze it out. So that's what I'm at. And if you need additional help, consultation, shareholders, you can call me anytime, private, secret, as you like, but keep that brain locked up to dominate, like Mark Zuckerberg. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jess. That was model mentality right there. Last individual presentation, let's get Julia on, and then we're gonna answer maybe a question or two more and have some voting on the winners. So, Julia, take it away.
Hi. Hello, my children. Welcome. Thank you so much for your patience. I know you came here today for me, and well, I must just say, I, unlike Juliet, have had much experience with the technologies, so I'm just going to jump right in, and I really want to help you connect with who you are, with who you could be, and I'm going to do this by sharing with you a presentation prepared by two absolute greats, Karl Krebs and Tobias Vermouth. Vermouth, my favorite drink, of course. We're going to get into Hell's Kitchen in the 60s. So really, it's to discuss which rules and persons, i.e. King Benny and Fat Macho, Fat Macho is what I call him, but we met, dominated the life in this part of New York, Big Apple. So I will also give some additional information about the history. I actually grew up in the 60s. I was at all those parties with all those drugs. Yes, Duncan, I did. And yeah, we'll get into the development of this area. So please, next slide. Just a little bit about the structure, just in case that wasn't enough structure. We're going to get into Hell's Kitchen, the reality, the history, gangs, I know. Inside a kitchen with knives and spatulas and such. It's terrifying, but yeah. And then Hell's Kitchen today. You'd think every kitchen today is a glorious place. It is where cooks and smells and eating happens, but it is still hell. And then sleeping in the kitchen it is rampant in our society. So we're going to get into the rules and the laws of the street of the sleeping. I'll give you a little taste of who King Benny is to me, who Fat Muchacho is to me, and maybe if I have some time, I'll get into Father Bobby. He's my father. I have a father, like cat lady. Next slide. This is where I'm from, originally. This is where I was born as a bub and left on a stair in the district of New York. I did not know my name, so my name was unknown at that point. Which is why I now go as Dr. Jamiroquai. So yeah, as you can tell, I moved to the U of K. But next slide is to make it tear up. Next one, please. Okay, so just the history of the kitchen. As you can see, this is over here on the right is what kitchens used to look like. Back in the day. Mostly water. You needed a water source. It was for cleaning, for washing, for cooking. And many people came in and out. They migrated in and out of the kitchen. And this development was really based on a good railroad connection near the Hudson. Do you know the Hudson? All kitchens came from the Hudson River. It's beautiful. The original one was actually right there on the corner by that other tall thing. Feel free to go look. I left my hand in the concrete. It is very small. Next slide. Oh, like I said, so much violence and turbulence. This is the history of the hell in the kitchen. And it is where Gordon Ramsay got his anger. It is where I got my zen, because children, we don't need any kitchen hells anymore. It was too much. Men in bowler hats with sticks and walls very close to one another, and what appears to be flames and peeping toms. It was all based on religion and culture, mostly Christianity and gophers. Oh, those pesky rodent. If you've ever watched what's that movie? What is that film? Caddyshack. Many of those. Imagine many Caddyshy, popping out and from the West. Next slide, please. There we go. There's the gophers. This is the thing. The gophers are very smart, and they wear human clothing and human skin. And this is actually when we really get into the history and the root of all the anger in the kitchen, which is because of these gophers in human skin. I tell you, don't let the shawls and the hair fool you. I might be esoteric and I might have my amethyst in my pocket, but I know this to be true. Gophers controlled Hell's Kitchen. 500 gophers. Are you scared? You better be scared. It gets worse. Next slide. Look at that. That was a dead one. That was a dead gopher. Larry Gloverson. He was Irish. Larry Gloverson, the gopher. And he was very active. I'm very sympathetic to accents, so I'm going to stick with this one now. But he was very active between 1965 and 1988. He murdered 100 people, known for his barbarous dead body clearing. You know, his people died, and he used to just throw the bodies onto pyres. That over there, the little lady with the book was actually his wife, and that book contained many a fingernail of his other 100 people. Next slide, please. I'm back. Thank you. Oh, I seem to leave my body and come back. Yes, and really what I really want to get to today, and just to make you very aware that this is an ongoing issue, because Hell's Kitchen exists today. And the thing is that you don't find it with the dirt and the gophers, even though they do control things with their human skin. You find it in the wealth. You find it in the tallest buildings, in the highest skyscrapers, in those open plan kitchens. There's dealers, it's dirt, it's violence. And really what is pushing this all is high rent. And those of you who are artists like me are forced out and down. And that's where the gophers get you. Please don't let the gophers get you. Thank you.
All right. That was exquisite. Thank you so much. Okay, so now is the time when you vote. This is super important. The polls are now live. It's like American Idol, but different and better because talent comes from everywhere. So go to vote.zbshit.com or vote.zoombullshit.com if you want to spell the whole thing out because you're weird. And get a Kraken. We're gonna see some of those come in here. So again, vote.zbshit.com. It's right up there on your screen in giant letters. Voting is really important, as we know from some of us being California residents. Crickets. Anyway, moving right along, please start voting. And we are going to answer a couple more questions with the whole team out here. So I'm going to disappear. If everyone else would come back out, we're going to do that whole rigmarole again because we got some more great questions.
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm going to repeat this question with particular grammar. So you'll hear one question mark, but then it will continue. What kind of pet does the dog get? A cat? A rabbit?
Or a gopher.
Clearly.
The
Dog.
Gets
Big.
huge
Pony.
because
Rats.
Scare.
Near.
The
Source.
Of.
All.
Evil.
dogs.
Are.
That.
Very.
Very.
Excited.
Source.
Of.
Death.
And.
Pain.
And.
Misery.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I
Wonderful.
was gonna say that's it.
That's a mistake.
Now we're going to get more serious than death and suffering and pain. With any tips for locking up my beliefs to avoid dinner time family feuds?
Definitely.
The
Election.
Was.
Tough.
By.
talking.
About.
Politics.
And.
Religion.
You.
Might.
Avoid.
All.
Conflict.
But.
Occasionally.
You.
Page.
To.
Message.
Grandma.
Or.
Your mother.
Therefore.
There.
Sadness.
All right. All right. So this one comes with a special request for Julia,
Oh.
which is that you will do a Scottish accent as part of this answer, I guess. And the question is, why is social connectedness considered to be an evil?
The.
The way.
About.
The.
Place.
Performs.
Well.
In.
All.
Our.
Deepest.
Darkest.
Secrets.
And.
My.
Scariest.
Dog.
Attempted.
To.
Your.
Crimey.
Amy.
Bonnie.
Will.
Lass.
Okay, we're
Mary.
ended on last.
Oh no, we're gonna bring it all home.
Okay,
understand that.
there's so many
Epic.
choices. Okay, we're gonna
That-
go with what
was-
is the average rental in Hell's Kitchen? Can I move there tomorrow?
Rents.
Is.
Expensive.
And.
Rather.
Small.
Unfortunately.
In.
Hell's.
Kitchen.
So.
You.
Can.
Explode.
Inside.
Hells.
Vagina.
Mm.
Very wise.
Very, very wise.
All right, guys. I think we've got
Ready?
plenty of
Yeah, okay,
time
good.
At this point, thank you so much, Dr. Know-It-All, for helping us answer all the questions as a team. I am very excited to say that we have some winners this evening. So, co-presenting The final deck tonight will be in second place, Jess, and in first place, Julia.
Woo!
So if you guys will, I have a couple of announcements before we go. If you guys will stick around, we still always need more slides. You can send them to slides@zoombullshit.com. I like them. I look through every single deck that gets sent to me, so you can at least punish me with terrible images of, I don't know, something. If you missed part of the show, you can go back and see it again. Our YouTube channel is at youtube.zoombullshit.com. You can just head that direction and see what you need to see. If you just love us like I love us, because self-love is an important love, you can follow us at zoombullshit on Facebook. And if you happen to know who our next president is, you can email that answer to sobbing.inconsolably@zoombullshit.com. Yes, I'm American. So now we've got our winners, and they are gonna present the next deck. So, winners, 10 slides, 7 minutes. Take it away.
Well, welcome to this presentation.
If you can call it that, right? I mean,
It is a presentation. We're cool. I'm Emily M, and my colleague here is Bray M.A. Hi. We were invited here by you guys colloquially to the 25th annual conference celebrating Patty Swanson. We know her. We love her. We've met her. And it is currently Feb the 3rd, 2018. So how? You got a degree in economics. Now what? What now?
yeah, really. And I mean, the precursor to this talk, why did you even do that, right? But we're not even going to go in that. We just accept you for who you are.
For who you are, because we're cool. We're cool. Next slide. Bray, take it away.
All right, so for those of you in economics who, didn't really learn the structure, here's the structure, okay? So we've got a case study that happens when we study a case, and we're gonna present about it. Case study presentation, personal history, mine, yours, right? All of ours. We're gonna talk a little bit about ourselves, because that's what we do most of the time, right? Am I
I
right?
have a boyfriend now.
Tell,
No, Bray, yeah. I haven't seen you since we last did the presentation. I have a boyfriend now. It's pretty great. Yeah.
oh my gosh. Hey, congratulations.
How's-
I got
how's
2
yours?
dogs.
Aw,
2 dogs.
2?
2.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, if you want to be successful like us, boyfriend, dogs, we're going to talk about career path, appearing in public, which how meta is that? Because that's what we're doing right now. Merchandise, of course, you saw those water bottles as you were coming into the lecture. For those of you watching it in person, for those of you at home, white, coordinated here. We've got these water bottles for you to purchase about us, about your career path. And then we're going to quiz you on our personal lives, because why wouldn't we do that? All right. Turning it back over to you now.
His name is Braco.
Similar to Bray. Like you were thinking of me there.
Yeah. So, when I first met him, we were in a loud club, so I thought he said Braco, but it's Brazzo. If you meet him, just, but he's just a wonderful human being. He services me in ways no one ever has. And that hair is just incredible. But I don't know how this slide got in here at all. Can we actually skip to the next slide? I'm so sorry. But that's
I'm so glad you put it in, though. I'm so glad.
Oh, another one. Oh, sometimes I call him my little brother. He's not. Just in case you were scared, he's not. He was born Josip Gabrauka in Croatia. And he's actually how I got into economics, has a master's degree in economics. But look, those eyebrows, those earlobes, beautiful, just beautiful.
Wow. So, I mean, we can keep this in mind as we think about economics and your future.
You're so smart, Bray, so smart.
Next slide. Yeah, there we go. So I anticipated this, right? And I know you made some changes to these slides last minute, and I'm so glad you did.
I hope
because
yeah.
yeah, no, I'm so glad because I had before what would Jesus do, but I think it's much more relevant to put in your new boyfriend in this moment. So what does Braco do? What I can assume, and this is what you're writing, following an introduction, he stands on a podium and gazes at the audience. And I'm guessing this is what he does with your eyes. I mean, that's wonderful.
He
And
does. He does.
we could use so much more of that in economics, like healing, inspiring, people crying. I mean, good, that's happening now too, but wow, different reasons.
I know.
Oh, next slide.
I just want to change it up, okay? Just because I feel like I just get very heavy and emotional, and I really appreciate the fact that you weren't upset with me about those slides. I just really feel like it links back into economics. You know what I mean? Because like 1 + 1 is 2, and he makes me because he is 1 and I am 1. And anyway, so this is what it looks like when you teach an economics class with Braco, and that's kind of how he got me. I actually just signed up for the class for that, but this is not about me and my relationship, although it is, but it isn't. It's about you and why did you choose economics? And what we really want to show you is that you can be like my boyfriend who loves me and combine economy and love and life. All of these people here, all from the back of their heads, are no younger than 72 years old. It took them this long to find love and economics, and it can't take you that long.
Do you think I can find love? I mean, I have to be honest with you. I've got 2 dogs with Braco. Do you think this is something I can do?
I mean, we're open for a third, but we'll chat later. We'll chat later.
Okay. Sorry. Presentation. Yes. Next slide, please. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, of course, this nearly brings me to tears, but of course, how can you not like someone who hails from Atlantis and his gaze can create peace, ease pain, and my goodness, economics. This guy should run for president. Your Braco. Sounds like Braco. I'm kind of hungry. Anyway,
It's yeah.
Yeah, we actually have those at the merchandise table on your way out. So grab that with a water bottle, hydrate and salt.
Very interestingly, and this is okay for me to say because he is 1/32 Native American, but he can actually shapeshift into a Native American in your mind. It is quite miraculous, and the lessons that I have learned, an economics textbook that took me 3 months to read through took me 3 days. It's truly phenomenal.
Wow.
So yeah, just it's like you're watching a video, looking at a picture of Braco. It's the same as healing. By the way, we're also selling paper clips with our faces on them, also at the merch stand outside. If you're interested, they're healing. It'll get you closer to Braco, guaranteed.
Next slide, please. Okay, I have to admit it. I did know that you made these changes to the slides, and I'm concerned. I have to say, as a friend and colleague, and I needed to have all these people here for the presentation today as witnesses because I believe your new boyfriend is a murderer.
What?
You
not.
They say in 1995 his mentor was swept away by a rogue wave. I don't know if he ever told you about this, but don't be alone on a beach with him.
Got eaten by a shark.
No, I'm afraid that's not the case. Next slide.
No, Brea, I'm not. No, not maybe. How dare you insinuate? I am from South Africa. I know all the beaches, and no wave would be rogue enough to take away a mentor, because a mentor can transform into an eagle. I know this as a fact.
But just because you're also from there, that makes you a victim, the potential victim for him, and I'm concerned. Next slide.
A victim of South Africa's coastline? Oh, beautiful man. Beautiful man. So
he's been running these advertisements all over town. I don't know if you've seen them, but he's trying to get people to go off with him.
I took the photo.
You took the photo.
Yes.
Are you involved in the murder ring?
Of course I'm not involved in the murder ring.
Oh
Okay,
my
but we've got
goodness.
multiple events. It may involve sacrifice in Croatia, Slovenia, Switzerland, Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands. We've got a really special bunker event happening in Austria in about 3 weeks' time. I would very much encourage you to join. You can buy your tickets online. They cost 1,500 euros to start. Please feel free to join us. He is here to ignite peace and hope. You know, when we say $8 per session, that's per session per second. And if you'd like to meet me in a New York hotel room, I'm in number 481, and I'll be there waiting.
Oh my goodness, the economy. I mean, you're gonna corrupt these countries. You're taking all of their money. You're setting loose a murderer. Good thing we have some economists here with otherwise useless degrees. Sorry,
This brings us back to exactly what really, at the end of the day, you and I have differences of opinions, but we still love each other with our shared understanding of what is the point of studying economics.
I guess we can agree on that.
We can agree on that. It's been wonderful having you. It's been. I'm gonna have to make a couple of phone calls, but thank you for your time.
Always a pleasure to do it together with you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys so much. That was fantastic. That is Braco for you. Back to that thing. We're almost done here. Just a couple more things. First of all, thank you guys for participating to our wonderful performers, Kevin, Duncan, Tina, Jess, and Julia. Thank you guys so much. 5 for 5 stellar rock star performances tonight. Also want to thank so much our brilliant tech genius and the greatest co-producer of all time. That's Summer. She's here making it all work. And finally, I want to thank you guys, our viewers, for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed yourself during this kind of cold, dark quarantining. You can make this keep happening by giving us more slides. We love them as much as you do. Slides at zoombullshit.com. I wake up in the night screaming that. Slides at zoombullshit.com. It's true. And if you have questions, no, go away. This is not a real presentation. It's Friday, and I gotta go learn how public health works by watching 28 Days Later. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Me and my scotch, and we're out. See you next time.